That must have looked really questionable. Hi guys, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. Heaven forbid you found this channel. We are back with another SCP. When are we not back with SCPs? Let's be real. We're basically just 99% SCP content at the moment because it's fun. It's fun. That's what we're going to do until I decide to do something different. So, haha. We are watching SCP-085 today, guys, by SCP Exposed, Foundation Tales Animated. So as per I always say, make sure you check out the original video, give them a like, show them some love, because the more you support them, the more they'll make videos that I can react to and get free content out of. Yay! The cycle continues. Let's just dive straight into the video and have some fun.
Been a particularly rough day for him. One of the SCPs he had been interviewing had overpowered him and broken out of its containment unit. It was the first time he had ever been involved in a security breach. The SCP was a particularly violent subject and had managed to create havoc at the Foundation. Unfortunately,
Poor Miller is not having a good day already. You can just see, can't you?
personnel had lost their lives during the breach. It had taken around 20 heavily armed Foundation personnel to capture and contain the SCP. Agent Miller had been summoned by the head of the Foundation.
Wait. He let an SCP out and it killed 4 people? Mate, you gonna be a D-class by the end of the day.
Himself to give him an account of the incident. This must never happen again, Miller, or we will have to review your future with the Foundation. Yes, sir.
I feel like he'd already just been D-class, just demoted instantly, right? Logically speaking. He fucked up royally. You don't just get away with killing 4 people, whether it was intended or otherwise. It's 4 people. Died.
Of course, it won't happen again. Now, I want a full report on my desk before you leave tonight.
His nails, why are they so dirty brown? What's he been doing? Go wash your hands, you nasty.
Agent Miller went back to his office. He didn't mind admitting the incident today had shaken him badly. At one point, he had thought,
pretty sure it shook the people who died a little bit more, you know?
the SCP was going to kill him. He switched on his computer and began to type up the report. As he recalled the events of the day, his heart began pounding, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. It took him almost 3 hours to complete the incident report, and when it was done, he was exhausted. The whole day had completely drained him. I just need to get out of here and have a good night's sleep. I'm sure I'll feel a lot better in the morning. Agent Miller switched off the computer and opened his desk drawer. It was a piece of paper, one of the results of the experiment between 2 SCPs that had been conducted that morning. The result had been disappointing. All that came out of it was a sketch of a young woman about 15 centimeters high.
Wait, what? So 2 SCPs were interacting this morning and the result was a drawing of a girl. Just completely bypassing all the deaths.
She had long hair worn in a ponytail, and she was wearing a summer dress. Underneath was written the word Cassandra. He put the piece of paper down on his desk. He decided he would deal with it in the morning. All he wanted to do now was to go home to his family. He glanced at the photo of his wife and children, which was sitting on his desk.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
They were the only thing that kept him sane. Suddenly, his eyes flickered back to the drawing. He felt sure the woman had moved. The stress of today must have really affected me. Now I'm starting to imagine things. Agent Miller picked up his briefcase and walked towards the door. But just before he left the room, he took one final glance at the sketch. The woman waved at him.
This guy is the shittest personnel SCP I think I've ever seen. How is he fucking up so much in one day?
Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you safe class subject SCP-085. But before I go on, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to make sure you don't miss out on any SCP stories. SCP-085 is the result of an experiment conducted between SCP-067, the fountain pen, and SCP-914, a clockwork design. Using SCP-067, test subject 1101F drew a single female figure, about 15 centimeters in height and 3.8 centimeters wide. She is wearing a summer dress and her long hair is pulled back into a ponytail. The name Cassandra is written underneath. A Foundation doctor proposed using SCP-914 on various settings on images created by SCP-067. Using the fine setting, the Cassandra sketch was
This seems like an absolutely terrible idea.
transmuted into her present form. A sentient, black and white animated young woman drawn in clean strokes. Further attempts to duplicate this result have been unsuccessful. SCP-085 is to be contained in a single chalk-white bond drawing pad in a secure containment facility. Supervised contact with it is unrestricted to all personnel with Level 2 access. All personnel coming into contact with it are subject to searches and random psych-analysis upon entering or leaving the containment area. Absolutely no paper or canvas media are allowed to exit SCP.
Can she transfer?
SCP-085's containment room. Any paper trash must be disposed of by incineration
Can she
after
transfer
careful
the paper?
inspection. Paper and art supplies are to be brought in only by authorized personnel. In case of fire, flames are smothered using a rapid atmospheric replacement and CO2 dumping system. Personnel are advised to quickly secure an oxygen mask and tank from the wall at the first sign.
Is it bad? But part of me thought he wasn't gonna break it and was just gonna like die from the smoke inhalation. I don't know. I'm in a bit of a cynical mood today. That's what. It would have been really funny though.
Sign of smoke or fire to prevent asphyxiation, as this procedure cannot be halted until all fires are suppressed. SCP-085 prefers to be called Cassie. She is completely sentient and, as of March 5th, 2018, is aware of her 2D form and her limitations in a three-dimensional world. Although her voice is inaudible, she has learned to communicate with SCP Foundation personnel through sign language and writing. She may be communicated with by writing text on the paper she exists on. Personnel report that she is amicable and motivated, albeit lonely. She can interact with any drawn object on the same page as if it were real. For example, she's able to wear drawn clothing, drive sketched cars, and drink painted beverages. Except for animals and people, any drawn object becomes animated when in contact with SCP-085.
Oh, that's such a shame. So she can't even have like a pet dog or anything. This is kind of lonely.
But immediately ceases and holds position once out of contact. Artwork initially depicted as in motion, such as ocean, waves, and swaying trees, animate to an equilibrium state and stay at rest until acted upon by SCP-085. SCP-085 has also demonstrated the ability to transfer from one sheet or image to another as long as the two are flush. In the event she enters a picture that does not support drawn objects, such as a repeating pattern, the picture is converted to a background image. SCP-085 perceives the pictures as an endless plane of the image drawn upon it. At the present,
an endless plane of the image drawn upon it. Wow. So her universe is kind of limitless, but at the same time, exceedingly... The English fails me. Exceedingly lonely. Can you imagine, like, just being aware that you're a 2D creation, but you're in a 3D world, so you can't actually interact with the world around you properly, but then there's no one like you either.
Present time, SCP-085 can only exist upon paper or canvas surfaces. She cannot transfer onto photos, cardboard, glass, or parchment. When entering other pieces of art, she takes on the artistic style of her new environment, whether it be a comic book, an oil painting, watercolor, or charcoal sketching. In comic form, her voice is visible as thought and voice bubbles around her head in typical comic fashion. And as she moves between panels, the perspective and her relative size are altered appropriately. A research introduced several prints authored by M.C. Escher to SCP-085. The following is a transcript of this. Cassandra, this is known as ascending and descending. What do you think? Asked the researcher. At this point, SCP-085 walks a few times around the staircase. It's pretty, I guess. Would make a neat exercise track, she replied. You see nothing.
Considering that she is stuck in such a crappy situation, she's relatively, like, pleasant, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like some people become quite hostile in an environment like that.
Nothing inconsistent with the staircase? No, not as far as I can tell. It just loops around, down, up all the time. Why don't more staircases do that? It's pretty neat. After this session, SCP-085 requested several impossible objects in her own environment. These requests are pending O5 review. Document
They're pending.
085-2
Oh, give
is
her
a
some
report of an incident
stuff.
involving SCP-085. Prior to the incident, SCP-085 was unaware of its status as a two-dimensional object in a three-dimensional world. Prior security protocols required that it be kept unaware of its true nature in order to prevent psychological distress. Discrepancies with the perceived real world were presented as dreams or nightmares, and an effort was made to present it with a scenario.
Yeah, because lying to people in order to protect them has always gone well, hasn't it, world? Yeah, it's never ended badly. Never. Just, you know, concealing the truth from people to try and, for their benefit, of course.
Scenario in which it was the last surviving human in a post-apocalyptic world, searching for survivors. The deception was quickly broken following an incident where an SCP Foundation researcher accidentally brought a hard copy of SCP-085's Special Containment Procedures report into the containment facility and allowed.
Why would you do that? Come on, man. Simple. If you're gonna keep a lie up to someone, at least put effort into doing it.
Allowed it to contact the artifact's current location. SCP-085 transferred onto the document before the researcher could remove it and was immediately made aware of its true nature. Because of the containment breach, several researchers advocated immediate destruction of the artifact. The decision was appealed to the O5 Council, which, in an overall majority decision, advocated for SCP-085's continued existence. Since the revelation of her true nature, observers have noted that SCP-085 has begun to show signs of clinical depression. Psychotherapy has been proposed, but the nature of the artifact's state of existence may make it difficult. Some success has been had by providing SCP-085 tangible means to distract herself from her condition. In addition to the aforementioned,
I mean, that's just really sad. I guess before she had a purpose to an extent, but this is why it sucks, because like they built up this whole purpose and life for her and then just shattered it when the truth came out. If they had told her from the beginning what she was, she might have been able to deal with it better. You know what I mean?
and optical illusions, she expressed particular interest in a set of technical drawings for a 1964 Ford Mustang convertible, transferring the parts one by one to a more naturalistic artwork, then assembling the vehicle by hand over the period of a year. Gasoline was provided through a Norman Rockwell print of a gas station attendant. Requests for further diversions of this nature are pending O5 level review and approval.
Oh, give her some
Some Foundation
stuff.
personnel have theorized that perhaps SCP-085 is the ghost of a woman trying to communicate with the living world, or part of a parallel world where moving sketch drawings is the norm. However, none of these theories have been proven. It is therefore evident that SCP-085 is just the freak result of the experiment between 067 and 914. What do you think of this SCP case? Please leave your thoughts down in the comment section.
That was kind of a sad one. I don't know. It's one of those moral things. Like, maybe they should have told her from the beginning what she was. I mean, if they were going to lie about it, they should have been a bit more careful about lying about it. That's all I'm going to say. Like, you don't just leave. It's like leaving adoption papers out for a kid without telling them they're adopted. You know what I mean? You fuck it up, pretty much. But that's really sad. I think it's kind of, I don't know, she's very amicable considering her situation, but I feel like they need to give her some shit. She can't even have a pet dog because drawing dogs and people don't work. But they are pending giving her like a car and shit. Just let her live her life, man. At least keep her happy. All things considered, she's fucking stuck in a piece of paper. Come on. And she seems like a nice enough woman. So, I mean, ugh, some of these SCPs, man, they like to wrench your heart out. Sorry, that was a yawn. Ignore that. Thank you so much for watching this SCP. As I said, make sure you check out the original video below, show them some love, and then it gives me more stuff to react to, because this is the creativity level of my content. I just watch other people's stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know what you thought about this SCP in the comments. Until next time, bye! Whoa!